Okay, so I might sound like an insane person for this video, and I recognize that, but I really wanted to talk about whether or not a video game, specifically Persona 5, can work as a replacement for real-life friends and activities. Again, I know this sounds crazy, and I know it sounds like something that someone who hasn't left their house in years would say, but I think it's worth discussing. Okay, so can Persona replace friends? Let's talk about what Persona 5 is. It's a Japanese role-playing game, or a JRPG for short. Role-playing games are all about, as the name says, inhabiting a role. I think the argument can be made that that's something you do in every game, right? In Devil May Cry, you pick up the role of Dante and you play as him, but RPGs are a bit different because they more fully encompass a character's life. So in Devil May Cry, yes, you play as the character, but doing Dante's laundry is not part of the game. Working a part-time job at a restaurant isn't something you do either. Meanwhile, you can do both of these things in Persona 5. Basically, the difference between an RPG and any other video game is that you more completely step into the character and live out their life as you would live your own. There are different categories of RPGs, and action RPGs are a thing, but for our purposes today, I hope that my definition of the genre gives you a good enough idea of what Persona is like. So the main plot of Persona 5 is about a group of characters called the Phantom Thieves, and basically through magic they change the hearts of people doing bad things, or that's the gist of it at least. And so you infiltrate these places which represent the bad desires of one's heart, and you fight a bunch of dudes, and you and your buddies all dress up in costumes and masks when you do this, and that's really the thing I'm trying to get to, the friend aspect of the game. In this game, the main character whose role you inhabit has some friends, and they all work together in what I was talking about, the infiltration of places, but to me that's actually the least interesting part of the game. This is a role-playing game, so in between the actiony heist missions, what you do is live out the life of a normal Japanese teenager. So you go to school and you hang out with your friends, and each character that is your friend has a different story arc which you can choose to progress by hanging out with them more. When you hang out with them, you can do things like go to the movies or go running or study at a restaurant. Again, this game seeks to emulate the life of a teen. If you've been out of high school for a few years like I have, then it's actually pretty fun to pretend to be a teen again, especially when you consider that this video game romanticizes that portion of life, because reality is nothing like this. Or it wasn't for me, at least. For me, high school sucked. You know, it's not the worst thing ever, but it's stressful and anxiety-inducing and depressing. But the high school in this game, in spite of having pervy teachers and weird classmates, still has an overarching feeling of optimism. Essentially, the game takes a lot of elements from reality and then turns them into something that's significantly more glamorous and just plain more fun than real life. So when you first start playing the game, you don't really care too much about the people in it because they're just characters in a silly video game, right? But as you start living out the life of the Persona 5 main character, and you get used to going to school and returning home to the coffee shop you live in and hanging out with your schoolmates, something changes. You get to know the characters and you get to like them, and they become your friends basically. This is a role-playing game, so to these characters you play the role of being their friend. So for instance, with one character who's a shady doctor, you help her test weird new medicines she's coming up with, and in doing so you get to see the challenges she faces. And in doing these things, your relationship with her grows. And I mean this literally. There's a meter showing how strong of a friendship you have with the character, but also when you do these things, you as the person in the driver's seat come to appreciate the character and relate to them more. This game is in a lot of ways a friendship simulator, and these sections where you are meant to grow closer to people are evidence of that. I think that it really helps that this game takes place in a fully realized world. You don't only have to talk to your friends. You taking on the role of a high school student can study for school, or you can read books to up your stats, or you can rent TV shows and watch them, or you can go to the movies, or 1,000 other things. Like the real world, the possibilities are endless, and so you get to explore your wonderful little city with your friends, and everything just feels alive. So let's get back to the original question. Can Persona replace real life friendships? Let me answer that by telling you a story. One night, I stayed up late and just ended up playing the Tycoon card game with Ryuji on in Morgana. I don't even like card games that much, and this is just a mini game within the game. It's nothing important, but I found this one to be super addictive, in large part because of the fact that the characters you're playing with have all kinds of quips and lines that change depending on whether they're winning or losing. They're a super talkative bunch, so it feels like it's something closer to what playing a card game with friends is really like. When one of them wins the round, they have something to say. When certain cards are played, they have voice lines to go along with it. Really, listen to this.
I can play too, right? How's this? I'll pass.
Can you beat this?
I've got nothing. Ugh, no moves.
3-card combo.
Guess I should pass.
There you go.
Then how's this?
These characters talk the same way a group of friends in real life would. After I had played the game for probably 6 or 8 hours in a single day, which those are rookie numbers I know, and after I had the memories of taking down a scummy high school gym coach with my friends fresh in my head, I would say, yes, Persona can replace your friends. Now, stick with me for a second. The purpose of this video isn't to say that you should ditch your friends and just play Persona instead. When your real life friends aren't there for you, Persona is. But of course, Persona can't actually help you with anything. If you get into a car wreck, the Phantom Thieves aren't going to be there to save you because they simply don't exist, so they can't be there for you. But when you're going through a tough time and boot up the game, it feels like they will be there for you. I mean, they're your buddies after all. You spend time hanging out with them and doing things, and it's fun. But again, it's fake. You're making memories with people that don't exist. Seeing a movie with Morgana inside of the game is fun, but it is simply not the same thing as seeing a movie in real life. I mean, for one thing, when you see the movie in the game, you don't actually see a movie. You watch the characters watch a movie. Even though you're meant to take on the role of the character of Joker and are meant to develop and cultivate friendships, it's not actually you doing it. You're kind of watching it happen, but you're not truly participating in it. You, the player, act as a kind of observer of relationships blossoming. I like the character Ryuji, for example, but he's not friends with me, Noah. He's friends with Joker. And that's an obvious statement, because how could a fictional character be friends with a real person in the first place? But I think that's an important distinction to make, considering you are meant to inhabit the role of the main character. You even get to choose the main character's dialogue from a list of options, closing the gap somewhat between you and the character. But again, it's not actually you, and these aren't actually your friends, and this isn't actually your life. I don't think people are really going around being like, Persona is my entire life, but I think that it's worth thinking about because, and I don't know if I've been able to get this across enough, when you're playing the game, it does feel like your entire life. Now, does that mean the game is bad? No. Not at all. In case this hasn't been made clear, I like this game. I wouldn't spend the time to make this video if I didn't like it. I think the Persona games are a lot of fun, and I think they're quite uplifting. You make progress in these games by doing simple things, and that's not too far off from how real life works. Just like in the game, if you read a book, you'll gain knowledge. Or if you explore, you'll find new things. Or, most importantly, just like in this game, if you spend time with your friends in real life and help them with your problems, you'll develop better friendships and your life will become more full. I think these games work really well as reminders of how quickly our lives can change if we put the effort in. I think that's what they're best used for, inspiration rather than contentment. So to conclude, can Persona replace real life friends? Maybe to a certain extent, yes, but it probably shouldn't. Instead, these games should inspire us to pursue real-life friendships of our own and to make our lives be the best they can be. Thank you for watching.
Wow.